Ladies and gentlemen, children of specifically discernible appropriate ages, I am here to spin a tale of when a greatest show on earth brought fear, despair, and horrors of disaster beyond your wildest imaginations into a small town in central Pennsylvania. I bid you a hello and welcome to Scott's Odyssey. See you in a minute. Welcome back. If you've watched my videos before, I hope this episode gives you more knowledge of the history behind the Walter L. Main Circus train wreck near Tyrone, Pennsylvania. If you're new to Scott's Odyssey, welcome aboard, and please take a moment to click and subscribe for more of this journey through odd to see stories of who we once were. It costs you nothing but a click and will give you continuous adventures in return. The 1870s and the 1920s was the golden age of American circuses. Central Pennsylvania, being the hub of the Pennsylvania Railroad, saw many a circus train and sideshow travel across its rails on their journey to all parts of the United States. Unfortunately, in the early part of the booming era of locomotive transportation, it was fraught with unforeseen disasters on a regular basis. The circus industry was not immune to these disasters. There are three defined types of train disasters called incidents, derailments, and wrecks. An incident can be anything from a scratch on a pole to a major malfunction short of the train coming off the rails. Derailments are self-explanatory when a train comes off its rails. A wreck is a term specifically used to describe when you have a catastrophic derailment and there's a loss of life. Between the years of 1877 and 1893, there were over 21 circus train wrecks within the United States. With each state having at least one train wreck and some having two, Pennsylvania, being a core hub for the rail lines, was home to 4 in that time period, and 3 of the 4 happened within a 10-mile radius of our current location. The first was on May 1st in 1878, just 1 mile up the road in Birmingham, Pennsylvania. The Sells Brothers Circus train wreck, which left 1 soul dead. The third was in Altoona, Pennsylvania on June 1st, 1901, where the William F. Cody Buffalo Bill Wild West Tour had a minor derailment, resulting in 1 dead and 1 seriously injured. The fourth was up by northwestern Pennsylvania in Mount Jewett, PA, in 1901. It was of the Indian Bill Wild West Tour, a copycat Wild West show of Buffalo Bill, resulting in 1 dead. The second was the one that we will be talking about here today. It's the train wreck of the Walter L. Main Circus, ultimately killing 6 people and hundreds of animals. The Walter L. Main Circus started in 1886 when Walter L. Main, son of William Main, who was a professional horse farmer and trainer in Trumbull, Ohio, decided to take the family business of providing trained horses to the circus and make his own traveling roadshow. William obtained an opportunity to showcase his trained horses with the Hillard and Skinner's Variety and Indian Show in 1872. Walter, age 10, was able to learn firsthand how a circus show operated behind the scenes. In 1873, William provided 4 horses to the Hamilton, Blanchard, and Carver's Wagon Circus, which had over 40 total horses. Walter walked 25 miles from Trumbull to Windsor to see the show. He returned absolutely dejected and disappointed that the show didn't have a single riding act. William ultimately started his own very small circus, leaving his wife and son Walter behind to tend the horse farm. Walter realized that he was an absolute failure at farming, so he began selling off the farm animals to buy more horses and wagons and cut down trees in order to make poles, seats, and stakes for his own circus. Close neighbor, friend, and fellow horse trader Ephraim Burdick joined with William in a partnership with Walter to see his horse endeavor of a horse-based circus happen. On May 10, 1879, the Main family circus was born. Although with a rough start, by the end of the 1879 season, the circus was a success with a net profit of $1,000. That's roughly $30,000 in 2020 currency. William sold his piece of the partnership to Burdick, who in turn sold the partnership to Dan Allen, a businessman out of Ashtabula, Ohio. Walter opened the show in 1880 and was requested by Burdick to cut his salary significantly. Walter emphatically told Burdick no and left the show. In 1881, Walter formed a new partnership with F.W. Sargent of Windsor, Ohio, as the William Main and Company Circus with 22 head of horses and an 80-foot round tent. Walter acted as agent, his father handled ticket sales, Mrs. Main was in charge of concessions, and she was the bookkeeper. Sargent was the treasurer. The show did so well that before the end of the 1881 season, Walter bought out Sargent's interests, making the Mains the sole proprietors, and the circus closed with a profit of $5,000. That's $130,000 today. At 20 years old, Walter was now the manager of the show. The name was changed to the William Main International Circus, and they had grown to 40 horses. In 1883, the Mains joined with M.M. Hillard, growing the circus to 114 horses, an elephant, and other exotic animals. During 1884, while out west, the show saw hard times. The exact reason is not known, but what is known is that everyone wanted to see the new and fabulous Ringling Brothers World's Greatest Shows that had just started that season in Iowa and was working its way east. The Main Circus performed so poorly during 1884 that at the end of the season, Hillard pulled his partnership. In 1885, Walter and the family started the new circus called the William Main and Company, which not only had horse shows and some exotic animals, but had the Wild Man of Borneo, which was the beginning of the charlatan escapades that are often associated with circus sideshows. With the money made from the Wild Man of Borneo sideshows, Walter, with the help of his mother's estate inheritance, created one more circus, the Walter L. Main Circus. By 1889, the circus was so successful that it was debt-free, had 40 horses, owned their own elephant, and closed with a profit of $25,000. That's $643,000 in today's currency. The circus was growing so fast that in 1891, Walter purchased 11 specialty railroad cars and sold his wagons to Scribner Smith Circus. At 5:30 a.m. on Decoration Day, May 30th, 1893, Decoration Day, now known as Memorial Day and held on the last Monday of May, the Walter L. Main Circus was traveling on the Tyrone and Clearfield Railroad. Just before it reached Tyrone, it was descending one of the many steep grades we have talked about in all of our train videos. Let me know in the comments below if you have stories or information regarding the people surrounding the events of the Walter L. Main Circus train wreck. Tell me your family stories, or if you know about other things regarding the story that you feel people should know about. My research is limited only by the information that people don't share openly. Help me break that barrier, and let's share the history and culture of who we once were. The train had a total of 17 specialty cars. The railroad permitted 17 cars as a maximum number of cars for safety reasons. I keep saying specialty cars because these cars were not like your typical train cars of 30 or 40 feet. Each car was 60 to 70 feet in length, and only the first 7 were equipped with the new air brakes. So Walter had gotten around the rail laws by having his cars made twice as long as a normal train car. Unfortunately, the engineer of the train could not get the train to slow down while they descended the hill. The speed of the train was in excess of 40 miles per hour as it approached the first U-shaped turn. In order to slow the train down, the engineer put the train into full reverse, which was really dangerous and a very last resort way to handle speed, being that it would most likely cause the locomotive's engine to explode. The engineers and passengers all cheered as they successfully cleared the first U-shaped turn, but this was not the last turn on the hill. The train became filled with silence and hard anticipation as they approached the infamous right-angle turn. As the first 2 cars passed through the right-angle turn, the crew again began to cheer, and disaster struck. The Walter L. Main Circus train fully derailed. 4 people were killed instantly. 2 more later died from their injuries, and 19 were treated at a field hospital including a John Chambers who had reportedly been severely bitten by a lion. Most, if not all, the circus equipment was destroyed. The most tragic aspect was that 2 sacred cows, 50 horses, and almost all the prized exotic animals were either killed, injured, or lost. The elephants, camels, and large animals survived the wreck, and most of them stayed around the wreck area after it happened. They were quickly tethered and caged. 3 lions and 2 tigers escaped. One was caught and caged, another was lassoed and tethered to a tree after attacking a zebra that was also tethered to a tree. The 3rd lion remained at large. The alligators were found close by, resting under a shade of trees. Manslayer, the gorilla, was also found close by and quickly tethered to a tree. 2 Bengal tigers had also escaped. One was caught and caged, and the other was not as lucky. The 2nd loose tiger ran off into the woods. Hiram Friday, a crippled Civil War veteran who forbid guns in his home, was surprised by his daughter Hannah bursting into the home, stating that while she was milking their cow, a large animal jumped into the stall. Hiram called on local bear hunter Alfred Thomas of McCann's Crossing to help with the situation. Alfred arrived immediately and, after seeing the disemboweled cow, dispatched the tiger. The skull of the tiger now resides in the former McCann's Crossing hunting lodge, now known as the Tyrone Sportsman Club. Many of these animals are buried in the backyards of these local people, and the remains have been confirmed to exist through the use of ground-penetrating radar. The exact location of the mass grave of dead circus animals has been lost to history, even with the recent archaeological studies and searches. Of the animals that did not die initially and were not caught, well, the sightings of exotic snakes, lizards, hyenas, parrots, and other wild animals in this part of Pennsylvania lives on to this day.